All of you are aware of the current time. Over the course of this conversation, we are going to talk about XRP. We are just going to put on our thinking caps and begin to see whether or not, the news that are coming out, such as Grayscale coming in, re-announcing its trust, Grayscale Trust, which is a significant step towards a prospective exchange-traded fund ETF, are going to be true. And on top of that, the developments that are coming out, could this actually suggest that there is something that is going behind the scenes? Because as far as the price goes, we've been talking about the pricing on the channel, that it's holding much better than the broader market. Obviously, a great number of people are unable to comprehend this fact due to the fact that they desire to witness price explosions in order to gain a superior understanding of whether or not the price is functioning significantly better. When you consider it from a more technical standpoint, however, you will notice that it was holding up considerably better from the perspective of the overall market. And of course, not long after that, we did hear in a Grayscale that Grayscale Trust for XRP had arrived, which of course had a wonderful influence on the price of approximately 8%. But what I really want to share with you guys is an article and some statements that Stuart made only a few months ago, I would say almost 1.5 months ago. I hope you find this information useful, and when I actually took it into consideration, I was thinking about things from a different perspective and gaining a better understanding of what is taking place right now. In that case, is it possible that there is a connection? Moreover, I am going to share that information with you all. Whether you agree or disagree with that, please let me know in the comments section. However, before we go with that, let's take a brief look at the factors that are contributing to the price of XRP. Therefore, it is still somewhere around 58.7%. In comparison to Bitcoin, we have seen a gain of approximately 0.8% over the course of the last 24 hours. It is true that we came close to retesting 60 cents, but it is also true that our dominance increased and reached a new annual high. It is possible that this is a big player in terms of the price of XRP single, as you likely already know. Bit of a minor pullback, but anyhow, looking at the market cap, 33.1 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume is at about 1.1 billion, which is of course really nice to see. But let's take a look at what I want to share with you guys. But before I do that, as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto, and I want to share this with you guys first. So the built-in layer 1 features of the XRP ledger makes XRP one of the big smart contracts. Sending your assets over the XRP ledger is the first step in the process of exchanging assets with the automated market maker. Once the transaction is complete, you will receive the assets that you swapped for. This is quite fascinating. On the other hand, let's proceed. That being said, I am going to relate what I discovered, and I am very interested in hearing your thoughts on the matter. I would appreciate it if you could pause the video at the very end and share your thoughts with me. Following a landmark verdict that concluded the token was not necessarily a security in and of itself, additional financial institutions in the country will begin to express interest in adopting XRP in the cross-border transfers. Additionally, you should be aware that this is the time when it first took place. But having said that, the most important thing to note is that this ripple is self-assured. Financial institutions in the United States, including banks and other financial institutions, will begin to exhibit interest. In the event that you are looking for information outside of the United States, pause here and take a look at what is happening in Europe and Asia. They are demonstrating a significant amount of interest in the XRP ledger. They are aware of the magnitude of the situation, and of course they are beginning to accept it. What I mean by this is that these massive entities, which are accustomed to the traditional methods of conducting business, are beginning to comprehend that things are changing, that the way we conduct business is undergoing a transformation, and that your new technology is on its way. Specifically, Europe and Asia are showing a great deal of interest in Ripple, particularly the XRP ledger. The countries, as I mentioned earlier, are expressing a lot of interest in these things. As a result, it is clear that the company based in San Francisco anticipates beginning discussions with American financial institutions on the utilization of its on-demand liquidity product, which makes use of XRP for the transfer of money during the third quarter, as stated by Stu. It is completely and utterly ridiculous. It is almost time to wrap up the third quarter of the year. Doesn't this seem ridiculous as we get into the fourth quarter? Would you say that all of these conversations are taking on behind the scenes? Exist people who are on the inside that know something? One of the reasons why XRP has been performing so much better is because, as you may recall, we witnessed Bitcoin falling to 52,700, and you could actually go watch any of my updates around that price point. Although there is some correlation between the two, I did remark that XRP is holding considerably better than the... But let's go with the investigation of what I discovered, shall we? Therefore, as you can see, Ripple's business suffered as a consequence of the company losing at least one customer and investor, which was MoneyGram. In March of 2021, the leading money transfer company in the United States severed its agreement with Ripple. And this is something that we are aware of. Do you recall this? MoneyGram, when they first came and joined with Ripple, it was the most amazing news, but that was pretty much it, in terms of titans. Ripple was the first company to do so. Moreover, it is inevitable that some individuals would come up and assert that SBI has been collaborating with Ripple for a considerable amount of time. It is correct that we are talking to Us-based. And there are some banks that have, looked into Ripple, before, this lawsuit has been having a pretty good, since the lawsuit started, a lot of exchange, not just exchanges where you buy and sell, crypto assets, but, partners as well actually backed out because there are, not feeling confident, and that speaks for itself. Consequently, I believe that MoneyGram, decided to withdraw their support because of the significant amount of ambiguity that XRP truly contained for itself. However, I would appreciate it if you could share your thoughts with me in the comments section. Even if I'm only speculating, what if MoneyGram were to return and re-establish its partnership with Ripple at this very moment? Nevertheless, you should be aware of the fact that you are beginning to observe a slight change taking place, and I believe that this change is significant in some way, in comparison to what was anticipated, but once again, it's possible that we're just speculating right now. However, at the end of the day, time is obviously a significant factor that tells us something, but I would appreciate it if you could let me know in the comments what your personal opinion is. And this is what Stu has to say about it. I believe that we are hopeful that this decision will provide financial institutions, clients, or future customers with the comfort they need to at least come in and begin having the talk about the issues they are seeing in their businesses. Problems arise in the real world when it comes to shifting value across international borders without incurring exorbitant expenses. It should come as no surprise that this is the conversation that has been going on up until this point. You could literally go speak to a lot of businesses, and I'm talking about the majority of business owners that do send wires across the board. You don't need to. Across the world, and come up with a lot of complications surrounding big costs that they have to pay, settlement time, it just takes forever. I apologize for making this statement. This is where the introduction of new technology, such as the Ripple platform, can completely alter the course of the scenario. And then you can see that we are hoping that this quarter will produce a lot of interactions with clients in the United States, and we are also hoping that some of these conversations will actually result into genuine business. Very fascinating. And if you want to know what is the most interesting thing about this, it is the fact that we are practically coming to the end of the third quarter. Are these conversations that they had taken place? For my part, I am of the opinion that there is a great deal of information that we are not aware of. That information is not being disclosed, but I would say that the next 2 to 3 weeks will be very important. Of course, you are aware that the appeal phase is still ongoing, but we are getting closer and closer to the end of the process. However, we do not want to get overly excited right now because the SEC can literally come and appeal on the very last day. Therefore, we need to be a little bit more realistic in our thinking before we get overly excited. However, in terms of Bitcoin's dominance and typically highs, Bitcoin did make its way back above 60,000, which is a great sign. As far as the price of XRP is concerned, you can see that XRP has been maintaining its position above that major support. In fact, we did observe a daily candle close that was higher than that critical resistance. What a breathtaking